Hello, friends and family, and welcome back. I'm so happy to see you here today. So, today's message is tailored more for my brothers, for the men of God out there who are moving forward on their journey, on their walk with God, and also to the men who may have just begun their walk with the Lord or may be interested and curious about what that entails and what that looks like and want to go that way, but they're just not sure how. I just want you to understand what your expectations are. Now, although this video and this message is directed mostly to the men of God out there and to my brothers, I also invite all of the women of God and all the lady warriors for God out there also to watch this video, because as we all know, nobody out there can hold us men of God more accountable for our actions than our partners and ladies in the faith. So they will definitely call us out if we're not doing our part or if we need to do more. So I invite them to listen to this message and apply it to those who may be lost or may be confused or struggling. Just remind them who they are to you and who they are for the service and the kingdom of God. So I want to start out by saying that there's an unfortunate situation where the word crisis has been overused and it may have lost its impact. Crisis is used an awful lot to describe so many different things, which may be crisis and which may not be a crisis. What I'm referring to today is definitely a crisis that we are facing as men of God. As we look around the world and see the decay and the violence and the hatred and the anger, we understand that we have a duty and we have a calling and we have a purpose. And part of that purpose is to be men of God and to stand up and be strong and to be resistant to the evils of the world and to try to correct the wrongs that we may be able to correct and influence those around us to walk correctly. So I want you to understand that when I say crisis, please don't take it lightly because the word is used so often. But it is a crisis. And as you look around and we see what is happening in the earthly world, we understand that we, as men of God, collectively may be failing. We may not be fulfilling our purpose and our role on this earth as leaders and men of God. And I feel that that's very serious. And I think we all need to take account for ourselves and really look inside and see, are we doing enough? Are we doing it with our full heart? And are we doing it for the right reasons? I want to explain to you how you as men of God may be able to make a difference and may be able to put your full heart and your passion back into making a difference in this world. Because for those of us that have children and families, we understand that the path that society as a whole and the community is currently on is not healthy. It is not where we want our family to be. It is not where we feel comfortable. We should never feel comfortable on earth, but we should feel even less comfortable with the direction that things are going. This is just a waypoint for us. We're on our way to where we're supposed to be, but we're here for now, and we need to make a difference here, and we need to bring others onto the path. Okay? So, as men of God, we need to be leaders of our families first and foremost. We need to honor our wives. We need to raise our children in the way that we are instructed by the Lord. And we need to be the spiritual leaders. I want to communicate to you a few quotes throughout this message from a movie made by the Kendrick brothers called Courageous. It's a very good movie. It did receive some criticism because the gospel was not involved enough in the movie, but I feel like the call to men of God was decent, was clear, and it was timely. So there's a quote where he says, "I will be faithful to my wife, to love and honor her, and be willing to lay down my life for her as Jesus Christ did for me." Very important. "I will bless my children and teach them to love God with all their hearts, all their minds, and all their strength. I will train them to honor authority and live responsibly." That is our duty to our family as men of God in a nutshell. If our families are falling short, we need to really look closely at ourselves and see, is it because our leadership is falling short? Could it be because we are not leading by example? The do as I say, not as I do approach generally is ineffective. We need to lead by example. We need to lead with our hearts. We need to lead with the love of God that has been placed inside of us to make sure our families are properly cared for, protected, and for our children to be raised to be godly young men and women and to live responsibly and accountably for their actions. We need to make sure that these things are in place. That is our first and foremost role as a man of God who has a family or a spouse and is about to have a family. So I want you to remember that. Lead by example. The statistics about how many families come to Christ when the Father leads them there is staggering, and it's important. It's a big responsibility. And yes, because of that large responsibility, you may feel a lot of stress. That's when you fall to your knees and you ask for help from your Father, our Heavenly Father. Okay? I want you to understand that. Another way that you can be an example of a man of God is to the community, is to serve. Because not only should we be responsible for our families, but we should be responsible for our communities. We should lead other young people who may not have a man of God in their lives. They may not have that father figure, that godly man, to show them how to live and show them what is right and what is wrong and what is expected of them and how they can reach a successful and happy, joyful, peaceful life. There's a lot of broken families. There's a lot of strife in families. There's a lot of situations where other family members are raising children that are not theirs. We should be available to step in, not take control of their family, but to serve as a mentor or to serve as that father figure or to step in and guide and support these struggling young people, because without that guidance, without that godly guidance, without that man of God with his strength and honor and integrity to show them the way, they have no idea where to go and they'll be lost. Some may make their way back. Most probably will not. Is that our responsibility as Christians? As men of God? I believe so. I believe we've been called to serve not just our families, but our communities and those who are needy, those who are less fortunate, those who are struggling to find their way. That's our responsibility where we step in. You can also serve by offering time, obviously, as I've mentioned, offering financially, offering expertise, volunteering. All of these things put you in a position and a posture to serve a purpose greater than ourselves, to serve a purpose designed for us that we have been asked to serve and we have been tasked to serve. And we need to do that, and we need to take it seriously, and we need to do it passionately and with our whole hearts. We know that a father should love his children and seek to win their hearts. He should protect them, discipline them, and teach them about God. He should model how to walk with integrity and treat others with respect, and should call out his children to become responsible men and women who live their lives for what matters in eternity. And that applies to our own children, and that applies to the children and the young people around us who may need that guidance or may need that support. Again, don't impose. Don't be overbearing. Be that quiet, but always present support structure, not just for the children, but for the family as a whole. Maybe they have a father who's struggling. Maybe they have a mother who's struggling. Maybe they have both who have yet to find their way to Jesus and accept him. Be that quiet but ever-present support structure and guidance and source of knowledge and mentor to help them along their way. We don't want to push them along their way. We want to help them along their way, but ultimately they need to see the beauty and the path for themselves, and we will help them navigate it. The world's a nasty place. We know this. We see day to day the failures of government, the failures of society, the failures of community. And these failures are making our future uncertain. These failures are making our families unsafe. They're making other people's families unsafe. They're making our communities broken. We cannot accept, without a fight, without standing up, without taking charge, without leading as men of God, we cannot accept the brokenness that we could make a difference. We could change the brokenness. We could affect it. We could reduce it. And ultimately, if we banded arms as men of God and truly took it on with a passion and led the duty wholeheartedly, we could change it. We could reverse it. But it takes all of us standing up with our strength, with our armor of God, with our belief that with God before us, who could be against us? We move forward in his calling and we lead as men of God. I personally am asking you to take a good, hard look at yourself and take a good, hard look at what you have been doing. Are you leading by example? Are you leading your family? Are you leading your community? Are you really doing what the man of God should be doing on this earth as a foot soldier for God? Can you say that when the day comes, you can say, I served well and I answered my calling? I hope you can. But if you can't, you need to sit down and make a plan and put it upon your heart that this is your commitment. You need to verbally and outwardly commit. You need to commit to your partner, whoever they may be. Hopefully they are a person of a godly nature. But whoever is around you, let them know that you want to be held accountable. This is what you're going to do. And if you fall short, if you slip, if you struggle, You ask your partners and those around you to remind you of your passion and of your commitment, not in a forceful way. Just like we lead others, we hope to be led and influenced and supported in a loving, caring way and not in an overbearing way. So I ask you again, men of God, are you ready to stand up? Are you ready to make a difference? Are you ready to step up not only for your family, but the families around you, to lead them to the right path and to lead them to God? Are you ready to stand up towards the influences of evil in this world? Are you ready to defend and protect against those evils? Are you ready to fight them back with righteousness and make a difference? I hope you are, because I am. And I've made that verbal commitment. And I'm taking more and more steps to influence in an area that I have a passion for and I have a calling for, and it has been placed in my heart by God that this is where I need to make a difference. So find your place, commit to it, accept it, and love it, and do everything wholeheartedly for God, because you must do your work wholeheartedly. I thank you for listening. I hope I may have stirred something in your soul and in your spirit to help you realize that there's more you could do. And there's definitely the need in our current society, in our current communities, and in our current churches for men of God to stand up and take the lead. So lead on, men of God.